Proverbs 3 and verse 29. It says, "Devise not evil against thy neighbor, seeing he dwelleth securely by thee." Now, I think this one here, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think this one here, you're going to probably learn something that you didn't know. Because I learned something, I mean, granted, we always learn a little something we didn't know, but like to me, I did not know that this is what this verse was teaching until I looked into it and defined the terms. So I think you might learn something new today, and that's always neat when you can bring out something new. So the neighbor that dwells securely is living free of worry and care, and that is by definition of the word securely. Securely means in a secure manner in various senses. In a manner free from care or apprehension, carelessly, confidently, without care or misgiving. And it said that securely is in a secure manner. Secure is feeling no care or apprehension, without care, careless, free from care, apprehension, or anxiety or alarm, overconfident. So the neighbor here that's dwelling securely is dwelling carelessly. Carelessly in the sense of he doesn't have care. Like a lot of times we think of carelessly like, yeah, he's just, out there, running into stuff and not paying attention. But he doesn't have any care. He doesn't have any worry. He doesn't have any apprehension. He's just kind of taking life easy and he's got no concerns. Okay, so that's the neighbor that's dwelling securely by thee. So he's therefore not on his guard and he's not prepared for trouble, right? Because he doesn't have a care in the world, right? A wicked man then would have a temptation to plan evil against such a neighbor because this guy be an easy target. He's carefree, right? He's not worried about anything. He's not looking over his shoulder. He's not locking his doors at night. He's got no concerns. Look at Proverbs 24 and verse 15. Proverbs 24 and verse 15. Solomon here gives warning to wicked people to not take advantage of other people. Proverbs 24:15. "Lay not wait, O wicked man, against the dwelling of the righteous. Spoil not his resting place." Right? So you don't find some righteous man that is resting in his house, in his resting place, and go and pillage him just because you can. Solomon is warning us to not take advantage of careless people. That's what he's telling us. So when you find people that are not paying attention, that are not, a little bit cautious and aware, you don't take advantage of that and exploit it. This is what Solomon is teaching us here. And I would say let this also be a warning to us not to dwell securely in the true sense of the word, carelessly, because we will be easy targets for robbery or violence or fraud. And I'll give you an example of this. Look at Judges 18 and verse 7. This was the men of Laish, or Lachish. I don't know if it's Lachish or Laish, I forget. I'll have to see here. Judges 18 and verse 7. There's a good spiritual lesson in this too. Judges 18:7, it is Laish. It says, "Then the 5 men departed and came to Laish, and saw the people that were therein, how they dwelt careless after the manner of the Zidonians, quiet and secure." See, they're careless and secure. "And there was no magistrate in the land that might put them to shame in anything. And they were far from the Zidonians and had no business with any man." Quiet, secure, careless. They're not worried about anything. They're far away from everybody else. They just kind of have their own little village here, and they've got nothing to worry about. So they thought. But turn over to verse 27 and 28 of this chapter. Judges 18:27 and 28, and see what happened to these men of Laish that were dwelling carelessly. It says, "And they took the things which Micah had made, and the priest which he made, or which he had, and they came unto Laish, unto a people that were quiet and secure, and they smote them with the edge of the sword, and burnt the city with fire, and there was no deliverer, because it was far from Zidon, and they had no business with any man, and it was in the valley that lieth by Beth Rehob, and they built a city and dwelt therein." So what happened to these people that were careless? Somebody else came in and killed them. They They pillaged them, took them over. There is a spiritual lesson in this too. In a way, non-resident members can be like the men of Laish. They don't have to be, but sometimes they can be. They're far away, right? They're off by themselves, and they're careless and secure, not worried about anything, and they are far from the magistrate. What did it say here? There was no magistrate in the land that might put them to shame in anything. So they're far from the pastor, right? They're far from the oversight, and if they're not careful, what can happen is they can end up being overcome by the world because they don't have that continual, somebody there to be accountable to. So it is something to be concerned with. Not that you guys aren't non-resident members anymore, but when you were, that is something that could happen to any non-resident member. So any non-resident should be cautious of that. We should instead be wise and circumspect, paying attention to our surroundings. Ephesians 5 and verses 14 and 15. Ephesians 5:14 through 15 says, "Wherefore he saith, Awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give thee light." They're sleeping, they're careless, right? "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." Circumspectly, looking around, right? Circle, spectly, looking, right? So pay attention, don't be careless. Don't be secure in that sense. It's kind of funny because the way that we use secure today, if you'd say I'm dwelling securely, you think I've got my doors locked, I've got my gun loaded, I'm prepared. But in the primary sense of the word, when you're dwelling securely, you're just the opposite of that. You're not paying attention, you're not worried about anything, you're not have any concern. So it's just one of many examples of words that have changed meanings entirely over the years. That's why I said that whenever I first read that verse, I didn't get this from it. It wasn't apparent to me what the neighbor dwelling securely by me meant and why you wouldn't want to, harm him. So that takes care of verse 29.